I'm not receiving any information right now. Just let me know. What's coming?
I can't tell you.
He's a tech-savvy guy, gonna show you the way.
Yeah.
You better load your bags, cause crypto's here to stay. Listen up,
Own a business?
teach you about this and that. But he's just a goofy guy in a straw hat. So join in and have a laugh. It's gonna be a good time, that's a fact. Information and crypto parodies. Sit back and enjoy the show. You just never know which way you'll go. So get ready for Digitspin crypto.
Are we live? Sure. I'm starting the stream as well now. Are we live? I'm not sure. Okay. Give me a second here. Well, it's picking up the signal. It's picking up the signal. Give me a second here. Okay. Yeah, I think there's like a delay of maybe 5 to 20 seconds or something. But we should be live. Singing. Thank you so much for coming on. We are live now on my channel as well. I'm definitely not a financial advisor. Don't take any of my recommendations. Definitely not. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to tell you, Dino, it was such a pleasure to meet Richard Ells. I'm aware you have met him also as well. And generally, Richard Ells seems such a friendly guy, and they didn't want any questions in advance as well. They were just so honest. I didn't need to send them any questions. So Richard Ells was well prepared without even me sending the questions in the format. And I don't know, what has your personal experience been with Richard Ells? Because my personal experience has absolutely been great because he's such a friendly guy. Definitely. But how long did you even meet him for? Was it like, because I did watch, didn't you live stream from there? Because I think I watched it afterwards, and he was holding a presentation about any task, and didn't he had to hurry up or something after that, as far as I recall? Dino, wait, people are saying that your mic is not on. Are you aware? It seems like people can't hear. No, it seems like people are typing in chat that it's not on. Maybe I can hear you perfectly. I can perfectly hear you, but it seems like guys, Dino is working on getting his mic done. but I'm not sure what is happening. Sure, yeah, sure it will get on very soon. Dino, Dino's mic is focusing on. Maybe didn't they even get some of the audio? Sure. Guys, can you hear like Digitspin now? Oh, sorry, Dino.
One, two. All right, now they're hearing me.
Are they even
Can
loud?
you? Yeah, can you hear me also now, Oscar?
Yeah, sure. The connection is
All
good.
right, yeah. You guys give me a thumbs up or something if you're able to hear me now, and we'll start over. Let's see here. I'm seeing the audio go across the network now. Now, still no. Ask them if they can hear me now. Yeah.
Can you guys hear it? They're saying yes. Oh, we
Yes,
can
yes,
hear it.
yes.
Great. The connection looks
Yeah,
up.
what a crummy way to start a show. So we'll have to start again here. All right, so now that I see
Sure,
what the problem is, we'll put some music back on in the background. We'll start over. All right.
sure. So should we just take it over again, or
I guess they know what we're talking about. Obviously, we're not financial advisors. So we went through that part already. And I could do the shake with the hat, the whole thing. All right. So we were talking about Richard. So, and getting an opportunity to talk with him when he did his interview. And how, when I got a chance to spend some time in London with Richard and, of course, my beautiful wife with me. Yeah, what I was saying is that Richard is very charming when you go to listen to him, and yeah, he's got a lot of charisma. You want to hear his stories. He's got a nice way to present stuff. So it definitely is a fun and an interesting thing to do when you interview him. So obviously, and like you were saying though, you had the opportunity to ask whatever you wanted, right?
absolutely. I actually went to Oliver, the PR manager, and I asked him if they wanted the questions in advance. They didn't want that. He was just saying like I don't really agree with any like censorship or something. So Richard Ells wasn't at all prepared for my questions. He wasn't aware of it, and that just shows that he is willing to do interviews. I think, and Dino, you can probably do this as well. If you just reach out to him, you should be able to get contact with Richard Ells, and it also seems like that he genuinely wants to answer the questions from the community. I generally believe that Richard Ells is a genuine guy. There's
No,
no,
I agree with you. Absolutely, 100%. He gave me no reason to doubt what he was saying or to think in any fashion that he was putting on a show in any way. Obviously, he's a natural speaker, and yeah, and in the past, he's never been afraid of questions. He may not be able to give you the answers that you like, or he may not be able to answer. But the fact of the matter is that I found him always to be open to answer anything that you like. Getting a hold of him can be tough because I'm sure his schedule is quite busy most of the time. Yeah, I think when the right time comes, I'll put in a request. Oliver has asked me a few times, do you want me to put something in? And when there's a bunch of people interviewing them, I let them take care of it. And I like doing odd things. Like I was the first one to do the live show at the Electroneum headquarters, and I thought that was kind of neat. And I wanted to interview the technical people because they don't have a chance to be able to say or to be able to ask some meaty questions about what's going on behind the scenes. So that was fun, and I was able to get that done. But at some point, I'll probably when I have some clever way of doing an interesting interview, I'll come up with it and I'll put the request in. Definitely.
But generally, I also think like it was quite nice to see some of the other people of like Electroneum, because we haven't really seen them. So you kind of shed a light on that, and I think mostly when I think of Electroneum, I come to think of Richard Ells, because he's the CEO and the founder. But it's also very nice to meet other people as well. So I think that was good that you put a highlight on that as well.
Yeah, and the intention was I was going to go around the whole room because there were people everywhere when I went, and that whole floor was just full of folks working, and my intention was to go around to just about everybody and try to get a little snippet, and then every other day drop those, and I got pulled away just after the first 5 people I interviewed or talked to. And because I had to do the interview with Chris Harrison, the lead blockchain developer.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I ran out, and I wanted to do some of the others. I'm gonna see if I can set up remotes for those, because I think that would be pretty awesome to still do. And I agree, it was great to have a behind the scenes to get a little better feel of what's going on with Electroneum and who's doing and who's working on it, and that's the guy, or that's the gal who's doing that job. And it's nice to put a face to those types of things. So that's I try to do different type of stuff. So the viewers can. You have 4,000 viewers on your channel. Holy smokes! Subscribers.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no one is watching right now. It seems like no one is getting out there.
It takes a while.
Only 2 is watching. Only 2 is watching right now. So maybe people will come later. I'm not sure. Maybe they just enjoy your live stream, Dino.
They'll possibly, but they'll come. They always do. There's no doubt. Let's see here. I only got 20 people on, so no big deal. See, right up here, it's you don't see it. I have a little numbering scheme on mine, and it's supposed to tell you how many people are online, but it's not working for some reason. But if I go into the YouTube section, it tells you that I got 20 users, subscribers. But I've only had, I've been doing this for. The problem is that there are times where I have to stop. I don't do this for a living, so it's not like I'm always trying to get a video out every day. And so when I have extra time, I do videos, and those that want to watch, they do, and they subscribe, and it's enjoyable. So I was just really impressed that you had so many subscribers on your channel. I thought that was fantastic. I was pretty excited about that.
Well, if you have in fact looked at my videos, which is unfortunately the case, I have maybe a total of over 600,000 total views, but I had like 300 videos, and a lot of them I had to private, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but it seems like that YouTube is getting a bit more tougher on crypto channels. I think Tony Way's channel disappeared recently, and there's been some similar cases. I actually have 2 strikes on my YouTube channel, and the next one expires in 10 days, hopefully. But if I get next strike, I will be terminated. Because when I talk about price, it seems like the video gets flagged, so I'm not going to be talking about prices, but it seems like you haven't been, have you gotten any strikes, or are you aware of the situation as well?
I've been lucky so far. I don't have any strikes on me yet. But you know what'll happen as soon as we're done with this show. I haven't had one yet, so I haven't had a community strike. When I did some of my parodies, I had copyright requests and all this stuff where they
Yeah.
wanted to take the monetization because I used the, James Bond clip
Oh,
or whatever, so, but, and that's fine. I don't care because, like I said, I don't do this to make money, but luckily I haven't done anything on the community side, so I'm not sure what actually, I belong to a group with about 170 YouTubers, and we can't figure it out either as a whole. Nobody really knows or why the algorithm is picking on certain people.
Well, do you see like in those group chats that people are affected as well? Maybe they get strikes or that the channel disappear and then it comes back again or something. Is that the case? Or because I remember Tony Way, I'm not sure if his channel is back, but Tony Way's channel actually got terminated recently. Or it got banned, and then I think 2 or 3 months ago or something, more channels got even terminated or something. So it seems like they're being more tough on YouTube channels. I wasn't even able to upload for like when I got my second strike. I wasn't able to upload in 15 days or something, or 14 days, I think. So generally, it seems like they're a bit coming after crypto channels, unfortunately. And those I got a strike on was related to the price, so maybe, I'm not sure. So I'm not going to really focus on the price anymore. I'm just going to be covering.
I'm not sure if it's the
news.
price or if it's links. Some guys were saying they think it's links in the description. Tone Vase, so I got it up on my screen. Tone Vase is back. He's back online, or
Okay,
he's there.
okay.
So he is there. You know what it is? These bigger guys, they have a little bit more muscle and they support each other, and then they moan and what have you. It's the little guys like us. If you get toasted, there's nobody there to back you up and to help you get realigned. So it's kind of.
Have you been considering alternative platforms? I'm not sure if you use like what is the BitTube or BitChute or Steemit or DTube or something like other crypto platforms. Is that something you have been considering?
Yeah, I actually have been backing up everything onto BitTube, and that's worked out reasonably well. What's it, BitTubers or BitTubers?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, something similar to that. I think that was the case.
Yeah, because there was BitTube, and so I did start putting a lot of this stuff out there, and having my channel. I was copying the files out there, and BitTubers is pretty good. BitTube TV, and there's a lot of. They've cleaned it up pretty good, but I haven't had any problem with it. I know that you're supposed to earn some BitTube while you watch, and you can earn it obviously for the videos you put up there, and that's been pretty cool. You don't earn a whole lot. I have machines, some GPUs mining BitTube, so I mine them separately with a couple of GPUs, but this is the one that I've picked, and so far it's been okay. I know some people are using Library, and you mentioned a few others.
Well, when you mine, for example, do you have ASIC miners, for example, or you just using GPUs as well?
I have GPUs. I have some X3 ASICs, which I used to mine with for the Electroneum. It's the standard crypto note, the original crypto note. And right now, obviously, there's only a couple of coins that you can use it on, like Liquidity. You used to be able to mine Darrow, but they changed that to CPU only, and just recently. So there's XMR Classic, Monero Classic that you can mine. But here's the problem: you're going to be spending more for electric than what you're going to be mining, and that's the problem that you run into. 5 ACE, 4 ASICs, will bring in maybe $1.90 a day. So it's kind of tough. And when you look at your electric, there's not a whole lot of meat on the bone. So, but I do miss mining Electroneum, that's for sure.
Yeah, obviously the NGOs are in control of that now. What do you even like think of that concept of proof of responsibility? What did you get there? Sure, let us know.
What was the question regarding proof of responsibility?
No, I was just asking for your card, and then I asked what you think of the conception of proof of responsibility that
Ah,
Electroneum has given control of the mining operations to NGOs.
sure. So, the proof of responsibility obviously took it out of the community for the mining. And here was the problem that they had, right, Oscar? They were using the existing ASICs to mine with the crypto note. Now there was plenty of horsepower there to keep the environment running, but as Electroneum was the only real serious coin left to mine, no manufacturers were going to be creating any more X3s. So whatever was out there was all that there was going to be. And most of them were in these farms, and they were just mining Electroneum. And they had easily, the ability to control the blockchain. And since there was no way ever possible that there would be more ASICs produced and sold so that there could be a change to that. In other words, they had the majority of the ASICs that were out there, and since there was no more ever going to be made, there was no way to stop them from being able to control your network and your environment. And as far as Electroneum concerned, that's an unhospitable and unacceptable solution to be able to have your network controlled by somebody that you have no control over. So by going to this proof of responsibility, that solved. They got control of the network back and were able to put it into approved validating nodes. And so then now their question is who gets these nodes? Do we do a master node solution? Do we put in requests and only approve certain people? And obviously it made sense to go to the NGOs where they can do some good with the mining that's earned. And whether they cash it out and use the money, or they take the Electroneum and send it to somebody for doing something for them, like a service, like go, hey, deliver these bottles of water to the city and we'll pay you 10,000 Electroneum, and so that they can get some value there. So it makes a lot of sense. And then you also get the NGOs interacting with Electroneum and promoting and saying, hey, this is what we use. So I think it was real smart. It was real smart. It was something that was completely out of left field for everybody. I don't think anybody really had a good guess of what they were planning to do. So I think it was quite clever.
As far as I can recall as well, they had some with all these ASIC miners, because they were able to mine many Electroneum. And what these miners would do mostly, I think they was just dumping it on exchanges, and just dumping it, which would essentially devalue Electroneum over some period, and then it would devalue the price as well. Do you remember that?
Yes, and this is what Richard was talking about. I did a show yesterday, and I read an article, and one of the things that Richard was saying is that obviously the emissions currently are from the mining and also from the reward system, and all of those coins get dumped out onto the market and either sold or traded or lost. But the fact of the matter is that the more the emissions, obviously that helps keep the price down. And what I was saying is that Electroneum is basically a victim of their own success. You know, you look at Ethereum. What was that? 4 or 5 years ago? 5 years ago, so they came out, and you know, it spilled out lots of coins, because that's what blockchains do. They just they vomit coins out to get them out there, and over that 4-year period, it goes down and down to a point where it's a little sliver of coins that come out. And during that period of time, 4 or 5 years ago, the developers had time in that 4 or 5 years to build something to make the product do things, to make it valuable, to make it useful. So by the time those 4 or 5 years have come by, the price is low and the product did a lot of stuff. And therefore now, hey, here's a good price. The coin is worth something because it's rare, and look at all the good things we can do with it. All right. Electroneum ran into the problem that it dumped out all these coins, and it came down. And Electroneum developed all this stuff within 2 years. So the problem is they had a great activity of things that can be done, but the coins were still pouring out. So it didn't. So the price is really low, and it didn't match with what the Electroneum has provided, and so they become a victim of their own success. So by what Richard was saying, let's lower those emissions down to where it matches where we've developed to, and this way the price or the value of the coin can be registered, acknowledged. To match all of the goodness that's been created by Electroneum. So that's the problem that they ran into. So he was talking about lowering the emissions even further, and he was asked if he thought that removing reward coins would bring value to Electroneum, and his answer was that he believed it to be true. So I think that's why a lot of people were thinking, well, maybe the reward coins will be used in a different way. And
I think. Sorry if I cut you off. Did you have anything or?
No. Go.
Oh, so I think they are really focusing on like phasing out the mobile miner in the future as well. I think we're going to see that, and maybe, as you mentioned, they will use the pre-mine coins as well on something else. But I think it's quite interesting because Electroneum, only through word of mouth, and also if you take a look at the users numbers, I think they're at 3.8 million users now or something. They've really been able to get a huge concentration of user numbers. And the interesting thing here is how many people are new. I'm not aware. Maybe Electroneum have the stats, but hopefully we can get all those new people in that has been introduced via their mobile maker. Maybe they're not even engaged in the crypto, but Richard Ells talked about re-engaging the crypto community and making it more exciting. So hopefully we can re-engage them, and maybe even the team send out emails to them to get them back into crypto and see what possibility it is, because they have been interested in the past. So do you think it has been worth them giving out? I'm not sure how much ETN they have distributed through the mobile miner, but do you think it has been worth it? Because now I think Electroneum is even the biggest, or one of the biggest cryptocurrencies in terms of users numbers. Do you think it has been worth it to get to the stage we are today, where we have 3.8 million users registered with Electroneum?
Yeah, so clearly they have 3.2 registered. Obviously not everybody's active, but at some point that they downloaded the app and registered. They took the time to register. So the question is that do you see the all the coins that are out there and all this happening bringing any value? Yeah, you know what happened is that Electroneum wanted to focus mostly on the 99%, and that's what their product solves, not only for northern countries, but the southern hemisphere also. And the problem lies is that the crypto community has a lot to say with what's going on in an acceptance of a coin and what the general feel for a coin is. And by ignoring the 1%ers of the people that are into crypto and not making sure that they understand and know what Electroneum does, because if you ask them, out of the 175 that I interact with or that I have the ability to interact with, very few of them know what Electroneum is about and what it's currently doing. And to them, it's a mobile miner and it's centralized, and that's the only thing that they know. And it's unfortunate because, you know, when I was a kid, they came out with something called a Betamax, and and it was Sony came out with the VHS, or vice versa. But the one Panasonic was one, and I think Sony was the other. And the Betamax was a far superior product, and because it was more expensive and it wasn't talked about as much, and the VHS, they were able to create videos and get the studios to produce the tapes on the VHS, and the price was cheaper. It came out on top, even though it wasn't as good as a product, and it's because people don't understand what they're purchasing. It's a new technology, and so this is the same type of thing. If you don't get it into the mouths of the 1%ers, it'll get left behind. I look at it like a bowling alley. You know, the 1%ers set up the pins to let the 99% play the game and shoot. If you don't get the pin set up, there's nothing for the 99% to do with this stuff. It's going to be a lot harder to get the ball rolling, and because it comes down to price. The 1% are the ones that are buying on a day basis, taking those extra risks, have the ability to invest into a coin so that you can see a benefit in the value of the Electroneum. And without them, it's not going to grow a value, and which makes it important and useful to the 99%. So I think that with Richard saying that he's going to start to do that, I'm hoping he's aggressively going to be looking to interact with the crypto community in very creative and aggressive ways to be able to just educate them. Because Electroneum sells itself. You and me both know what it does is amazing. And if they actually know what Electroneum does and they can learn about it, I think the better off they will be. You know, one thing that I was saying, take some of those coins and give 10,000 to any YouTube influencer or blogger. If they come on and for a 25-minute or 30-minute teleconference, so that we can educate you on the newest things that Electroneum does. And if you do, we'll send you 10,000 ETN or whatever it is. Buy them off to show up to learn about it so that they know. And if they know about it and they find out all the things that it does and it's done fast, precisely, and with a little bit of fun, I guarantee you a percentage of them will be amazed that they didn't know what Electroneum does and how sophisticated their entire ecosystem is. Thoughts?
Absolutely. And one thing I do hope that maybe Electroneum is going to do, it's going to be very interesting to see how they're actually going to take this approach in terms of mass advertising, but also how, if you say, I'm not aware if you are aware of Cyber Edru's I'm aware of him, like the Electroneum ambassador, but down in there, it just shows the power of word of mouth, because I think Electroneum wrote an article about that. There's over 100 shops down in Uganda. I think he lives in a small city, or a city where there's around 70,000 people, and it kind of shows that people in developing countries, for example, as Uganda, which Electroneum is going for, is actually willing to adapt to Electroneum because they see the use case for Electroneum, they see how they are going to connect them with the developed world, in terms of that people can now hire different freelancers to do different services, and they don't even need a bank account, because I've talked to, for example, Kisabri Edus, and he mentions that there's no really reason why they should have a bank account, because they just cost them money, and there isn't really any like incentive to use any like bank account, and most people don't really need a bank account, but Electroneum is going to give them the opportunity with making a Fiverr alternative platform just with crypto, but also with the task group. And maybe they're going to launch other products which is going to include them in the financial services. And what I think is, I talked to Edris as well, one thing he doubts about a lot of his currency is there's a lot of counterfeiting going on. And with Electroneum, because it is blockchain, you are the owner of Electroneums. So there is not going to be any problems with counterfeiting. And obviously, if you have a massive counterfeit problem, it's going to help you so much. But also, like, you can, for example, I'm not sure if you have looked at like Western Union or something. If you want to work abroad, the transaction fees are ridiculous. It's extremely high. So if you get those transaction fees, for example, on food, which is very essential, then I think it's very, very great to see. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, Dino, but in place, I think Richard Ells mentioned one time that they're going to give more money to people that is in places like developing countries. They're regulating it for like Europe and so forth. Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but I think what they was talking about is they're regulating, for example, with partnerships in Cambodia with Silcard, they're giving away $3, or maybe I'm wrong on that. Do we have any information on that? I think he mentioned it in a video.
So with the rewards, in countries that they released it and promoted a reward system that you'll earn $3 a month until we decide to end the program, those particular countries, if you were connected to those networks, would earn more Electroneum. So that, for example, I'll get 100 Electroneum a month here in the United States. It literally takes approximately a month to earn 100 Electroneum. Now, in those particular countries, which was South Africa, and there was a couple that were listed, Cambodia, they were giving out that 100. You would make like 300 a week, or something like that, to be able to earn $3, or give or take, a reasonable amount, up to $3. So, and obviously, if they end rewards, that's going to go away, but they'll still have the opportunity to earn if they put together a service. And if I'm not mistaken, on any task, not only can you do a digital service, but you could do a physical service now, where you can, let's say, walk somebody's dog. Hey, for 100 Electroneum, or maybe 5,000 Electroneum a month or whatever, I'll come every day at 2:00, and I'll pick up Wolfie and walk him around the block, and pick up his dog treat rentals off the ground, and put that in the garbage for you, and for another 1,000 I'll brush him So you go and you do a physical service and you'll be able to get paid. So this will allow them to use it for like, if they want to do a taxi ride, if their country allows it, or to do a physical service, which I think is also a fantastic upgrade. So somebody was telling me about that being in the AnyTask in the new version. So I think that's pretty wonderful. So they're going to have to use the AnyTask, which is going to be promoted a lot more, and so that they can earn it. And the big key is to have an off ramp. It's great that I got these coins. What do I do with them? I can't eat them. They're sitting on my phone. What do I do? Lick my phone? I don't taste like anything. So what do I do with them? So you've got to have an off ramp. So you've got to have either retail stores that say, "Hey, I accept Electroneum," and on the window, and then they can go in there and pick up their fresh vegetable or whatever particular food that they like, and pay for it with the Electroneum. So now you have money, you have value that can be spent, or maybe one day Electroneum will have an Electroneum credit card, and for the northern hemisphere, because there's no problem for us to go buy vegetables now. I go there and I swipe my card through the thing and I pay for my vegetables. I don't have a problem with a payment method, and quite frankly, it's to go buy Electroneum, transfer it, put it onto my phone, and each step of the way I'm paying a percentage. It's cheaper to use my credit card, the 3%, or whatever it is. So the vendor has to use that for 3%. So it'd be neat if they have one day maybe a credit card where we can just go pay for things. You see all these crypto.com has a credit card, Coinbase is coming out with a credit card, so you can tap into your money and then go spend it, and that gives you an off ramp. Maybe one day we'll see something like that, so that the rest of us can use until the retailers, and I think that's what the Electroneum Anywhere is going to start to help out with. It's going to start to get retailers on board so that there are places to go spend your Electroneum.
I generally think that, because Richard Ells mentioned in my interview when I talked with him, is that as far as they have good track, there's over 300 people using their instant payment systems. So what they're going to do is reach out to all of them and list those services. But also, I think, as far as I've understood as well, they want to mention like local stores that are accepting Electroneum. So, for example, down in Uganda, I think they will reach out to all of those shops, and hopefully they will get listed there as well. And then it will be so much easier to explore which shops there are, so you can actually help them out, which I generally think is the case. And it's going to be interesting to see that Richard Ells also mentioned that he wanted to, not necessarily now, but when they have eaten anywhere, they're going to focus on ambassadors, because it seems like they've been very successful in terms of Casabro Edlu's case, where he has managed to convince, I'm not even sure how many signups he has, probably a lot, but I think the ambassadors is going to be such a great program as well, and hopefully we're going to think that as well. But one thing I want to hear your take on is there isn't really any US exchanges, and I think I read a comment where they're a bit skeptical because currently Electroneum's price is not that stable because it's not listed on that many exchanges. So do you think that Electroneum needs to get listed on more exchanges to get more liquidity, because that would build up trust? And I'm not maybe there's some corrupt governments in Africa that are printing out money for their own benefit, which will also impact other people because of hyperinflation. So do you think that before they need to trust Electroneum or giving their trust to Electroneum, we need some more exchanges to get liquidity, for example, fiat, but also stable coins as well.
Right. So, from what I can tell, if you do not live in the United States, there's no problem getting Electroneum. There are plenty of exchanges out there to get it. And if you wanted it, you'd go get it. All right. Having more out there is not going to increase demand unless the 1%ers, the crypto community, thinks there's a reason to go buy Electroneum, gets to know what Electroneum is about, the new Electroneum, why it's worthy, what it's doing, to go buy it. You can have a Starbucks on every corner, but if nobody knows what they sell or they made crappy coffee, nobody's going to go buy it. So having more and more stores doesn't always translate, or locations to purchase doesn't always translate into seeing a benefit. So there has to be a change in the way Electroneum's viewed, so that people understand what it's actually doing. If they took the time to understand the complete ecosystem of what's been created, it would shock them to a point where they would want to purchase it. You would want to buy it. You'd want to have this because there's nothing else like it. There is no other coin that does what Electroneum does. And you and me both know that. That's why we talk about it, because we take a lot of time to understand what's going on. So now, as far as a U.S. exchange, the good majority of the people that invested, purchased, acquired, or holding on to Electroneum, a good portion of them are from the United States. And there's no easy, quote, appropriately official or legal way to secure Electroneum. I'm not sure if it's legal. Legal is not the problem. I think it's not officially allowed to purchase it from some of these exchanges, and it's nothing to do with Electroneum. It's the exchange, and so Electroneum, ultimately has to have an exchange in Canada or the United States where they can target the U.S. market, and that's going to be a big plus of what has to happen before we can also see big increases in price. The fact of the matter is the U.S. market brings a lot of money into crypto. They also, the Asian market brings a lot in there, and you had India just recently started allowing their citizens to collect crypto, and so now Electroneum's starting to get into India. That's a big market, and we'll see what happens. Electroneum really never focused or targeted or advertised in those areas before, so I think it's important that they do, and people get to know what Electroneum's about. So that's the only way you're going to increase demand is that if you're able to purchase it, if the crypto community understands what it is and is educated on it so that they want to purchase it, and the AnyTask system is put in people's faces so they understand that they can earn money and that you can buy stuff there, and then they get paid in Electroneum. So it does good for the person who's doing the service, because they can actually earn some money or earn some value. So that's my personal opinion. A U.S. exchange is going to be important, and the problem lies is that there are some steps. 2 years ago it was a lot easier to get on a U.S. exchange. It's not now, and you need the legal opinion paper. You're going to have to put some coins up in escrow, and it's going to be far more difficult to get listed. So Electroneum's got a lot more hoops to go through, and the fact of the matter is, with the the value of Electroneum currently, where it's been, which is below ICO, that's a difficult thing also. So we've got to see a sustained price over ICO, sustained value over ICO, because if it's less than the 1 cent it sold at, I think that there could be concerns for the U.S. market. So it makes it more difficult. Life would be easier if it was over 1 cent, over the ICO. So that's my thoughts on it. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I just had a following up question. Do you think, like, in terms of people building trust, that in Africa that the price should be more stable, or it should be more liquid?
Or having more exchanges, there are a few out there, and I would tend to think that those countries would want at least a couple of good exchanges in their country, so that the money stays in their country instead of it being an export to another country. And the other problem you have is that there's, on an exchange, here's the fact of the matter. If you're carrying Electroneum on your phone, right, because you don't have a bank account, you're not buying crypto because you have no bank account to transfer money to go buy it on an exchange. You can't slip a $20 bill or a $10 bill into your phone and the exchange gets it. All right. So if you have no bank account, you can't even go to an exchange to buy it. So they have to go to somebody that has a bank account that transfers and gets and buys a bunch of Electroneum, and then it gets hand traded. You give me some money, I'll transfer you some Electroneum. So it's all done hand to hand in some of the countries, and there's and that's gonna grow as there's more coins get out there and the value becomes more. It'll be picked up.
And I think generally it takes a long time to really to where we are, where we have a full Electroneum ecosystem where people are going to come in. I mean, that could happen like maybe, and now I'm just guessing, like 5 to 10 years, maybe even longer, before we even see many people come in. But one thing I think is that we have to realize that Electroneum does have extremely good potential. And when I say that, it's because I'm not sure, but if you look at Zimbabwe, for example, there's something called EcoCash, which is like an SMS payment system, which kind of function as same as Electroneum. And I think in Somaliland, which is a breakaway province from Somalia, which isn't really officially recognized, but it is it's more a political situation. It's just a self-governing region in Somalia, but it's not officially recognized. But they are using, I can't remember it, but I think they're also using a SMS service as well. So this thing that you can send it so fast and you can store it so much safer, and that you actually doesn't any counterfeiting. I think that is generally a problem all over Africa, and Electroneum is going to be a great solution to make sure that you actually have your funds safe. And I think I do hope that we're going to see Electroneum expand to all different countries in Africa, but also in Asia, where there is developing countries as well.
Yeah, no, agreed. Electroneum is a solution that can be applied, and we just have to make sure that people understand how to use it, where to use it, and you have to have vendors that accept it, so that there's a want to earn it, and that's what the top-ups do. Just being able to top off your phone gives you a solution right there, and if they have other abilities to off-ramp or to spend the Electroneum, it just makes it that much more useful, in there. I bet you if you show up in Somalia and you have a $100 bill, I assure you that you could probably walk up anywhere and you could spend that $100 bill there, and If you tell them, hey, I want to get these fruit and these vegetables and everything, here's $100 bill. They'll take it and they'll all right. But if you show up with I don't know, an Atlantis seashell, and you hand it to them, he's gonna go like, what am I gonna do with the seashell? Get out of here. All right. So that's the same issue. It's got to have a perceived value of want, and being able to see it being spent to places. Well, I want that because I can spend it here, and so it's a big set of gears that all have to spin at the same time. If you just move one, it doesn't solve anything. But if they're all moving at the same time, it'll start to solve something. Place to earn it, place to spend it, place how to keep it, to exchange it, and all those parts have to move at the same time. Otherwise, it don't work. Let's take a look at the chat here real quick. We got. We got a lot of people out here. I got Crypto Man and Chris, Climate Tech, Dr. Shepard. Who else we got out here? Crypto Man, 976. You Want to Know Me's out there. Ant's out there. So Robert Smith, Vid Bums. So we got a lot of good people. Let me see if there's any questions for you here.
I have
Crypto
some
Man's.
from my job.
You have some too?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, is there any news of Indian exchanges? Are you aware of that? I think BitBNS did it was a peer-to-peer trading platform which reopened or something that actually exchanged Electroneum, as far as I'm aware. But maybe you have some news about that.
Yeah, so I don't have any details. I know that Coin Guyan was posting out some stuff. He's got a lot of followers in India, and he's been talking about Electroneum. And he was mentioning that coming soon, we're going to have an Electroneum exchange so we can start picking up Electroneum. When I do my videos and I look, there's a reasonable amount of folks from India that watch the videos. So there's obviously an interest there. And so it's just a matter of time before an Indian exchange pops up. But he's working that as a big plug to get people to see his show and what the Indian exchange is. So yeah, I'm sure it'll happen.
I think as well, India is a great potential because it is an upcoming developing country, which I think is going to be a very big economy in the future as well, which is going to have a global impact as well.
No, absolutely. India's got they have juxtaposed. They got these high-tech cities, and then it's juxtaposed against these rural areas where it's 20 years behind the rest of the cities and stuff like that. So it's an interesting. I've been reading and watching a lot of documentaries on the history of India and the background and the culture and the religions, and it's fascinating, and it's so rich in culture. It's amazing, but putting it all together is the tough part. So, but it'll happen as we go along.
Do you want to take a question from yours, and then we can just switch if
sure,
that's fine if you can find anyone.
Let's see. We got Bit2 extension, standard. Let me see if I can find one here for you. Climate. Dr. Shepard just saying that your interview with Richard Ells really gave away a lot of big information, a lot of good information. He's real thankful for that.
I do appreciate it. And just to notice, I really wanna. I'm not sure if you have watched my interviews with Edrus, for example, but the internet connection is so bad, so it's very, very hard. They're lacking a lot of internet access, but I really, really want to do more interviews with people down in developing countries and think what their potential is, and that is something that I'm working on. Sometimes, however, I do have problems with the internet connection because this is far remote places, so I do hope that I'm going to be able to set up more interviews and talk to them and know what their thoughts is, but it is hard to set up.
Yeah, even if they transmit just audio to you, I mean, it's great to have a video, but if they have a bandwidth problem, just at least sending the audio.
It was a major problem.
Yeah.
When I had to interview Idris. Is there any other questions you want to mention?
So, Christopher here is saying, what do you think the chances are that Electroneum will get it on Coinbase? That would be massive in real world use. What's your thoughts on Electroneum and Coinbase?
Well, Coinbase, what have they listed? Like six currencies or something you can buy? Is that the case? I know there's Coinbase Pro as well, but for like the standard user for Coinbase, is it like 6 coins or something?
Yeah, a few more than that, but it is a very limited amount of coins.
I think they need to work first of all before we even see that as a possibility. They have to work with the US lawyers to even get listed on exchanges before we would even see them listed. And I think that it could be an opportunity, but I think we're a long way, because I think Richard Ells said it could take up to a half a year, maybe even more, before they have this document ready in terms of regulation. So I think that it's probably going to take some time, because then it's going to be listed on other exchanges, and there needs to be a huge demand for Electroneum before that is even going to be interesting, because Coinbase is looking at this as a financial thing as well. They need to make money in terms of people are actually buying it, and then they will have to take transaction fees. So it has to be worth it. So there has to be a lot more demand for Electroneum, I think, which is the case. What's your take on it? I think we're a long way from that, to be realistic.
Yeah, no, that's very much true. Hopefully, I hope by the end of the year we can see Electroneum on either Coinbase, Gemini, Bittrex. It's got to be one of those decent exchanges. It really gives me a rash that BitTube got onto Bittrex. All right, Bittrex was looking for people to add coins just maybe last year, and BitTube got on there, but Electroneum didn't, and it really gives me a rash, because they're basically the same environment, same basics. Both have a use case, and that BitTube's on there, and I like BitTube, and I'm glad it's on there because I can deal with it and trade it. But it's a shame for some reason Electroneum's not on Bittrex, but that would be very helpful. Let me see if anybody else had anything here. So I want to talk about the Anonymous 2020, ANON 2020.
The conference.
There's a conference. You can get free tickets. Take a look around. I'll add the link also below, but I also put if you have your phone and you're subscribed, you would have got an alert, and you can push the button and you can get a ticket. That's normally €20. You can get a ticket for free.
I have signed up on it because I saw that you were tweeting it out actually. So I have already signed up for it because I definitely want to watch that.
Yeah, it should be nice, and it's kind of interesting. It's created this whole idea of virtual conferences, and so when you go to this link, you'll be able to sign up for free. If you use the Electroneum link that I sent out in the last video or the last posting, you can get the advanced ticket, which is normally €20 for free, and that gives you access to more areas and the extra rooms. And there's going to be a lot of good people there. Obviously, between Richard and you got Anyavin, that's going to be there. The Andreas Antonopoulos is going to be there, big Bitcoin guy. And there's some folks from the bank. There's Australian government. That's going to be there. Somebody that referenced from there, if I'm not Austria, I think it's Austrian government. So there's going to be a lot of good folks, and should be interesting. And hey, don't cost anything, and you get to watch it from home, some little entertainment, and get to see Richard live. So get yourself your free ticket, and it's on Twitter. It's on the previous video, and I'll put the link also down here as soon as this wraps up, so that you can click on that and get that free ticket. So do yourself a favor, sign up. Even if you get tied up and you can't make it, at least you got the ticket and you're in good shape. So that'll be a lot of fun. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything, that there was any other questions here. There's a lot of people like to talk about their ideas and everything. Don't think I got a whole lot of questions this time for you. The ANON Summit, the Coinbase question.
I think there was a question about from Christopher of if they will release anything exciting, any new exciting news. Do you think that is a possibility?
Well, I think there's a high chance of probability that we'll see some exciting news at the end of the month, next month. So the May, end of this month maybe. So I think there's more than 50-50 chance we'll see some good news at the end of this month, or sooner. But that's my only input I can give on that. Electroneum's always working on good stuff. I know that they have some things they're trying to wrap up to make Electroneum even more exciting than it actually is, if that's possible. And if everything goes as planned, they'll be able to present that to us. So keep your eyes open.
So I have an interesting question from one of my viewers, and that is, I don't know what your thoughts on it. I really want to hear. So what he's essentially talking about is, if we have to work on the Electroneum price, Electroneum should make their own exchange. Well, I don't really think Electroneum is focused on that, but what is that your take? Should Electroneum make their own exchange?
No.
Do you think that is the case?
No, absolutely not. No way. No, it's not what they're about. They're not an exchange, and the amount of responsibility and technical requirements to create an exchange are a little bit different than actually developing a coin and the functionality that's currently in place with the AnyTask and the other stuff. That's not what Electroneum is. It's not Electroneum exchange. It's Electroneum coin. All right, and what they need to do is focus on what they do well, and not to create an exchange. That would be a bad mistake. There are people that create little niches of things, and they're experts in their field. And the people that create and secure and know all the tricks about exchanges and how they're hacked and all this other stuff, that's what they specialize in. Let them do their job. Electroneum does an amazing job of creating a full life cycle ecosystem. And even Electroneum is recognizing, you know what, maybe we need to hire an outside marketing team, and we need to hire outside team to do these things, because what we do is we make Electroneum well. These guys focus on these, and they're learning that sometimes it's in the best interest to hire pros and to use their services that know the tricks of their trade to maximize the value for Electroneum. So no, that there's, and you know, God forbid that you create an exchange and then it's hacked, Electroneum's out of business. You know, why would you put that risk? Why would you do that? That's, you know, that's not what it's about. You know, that's not what he's in business for. And I think that would be a massive mistake if that was to happen. You know, get on the exchanges. That's what they need to do. Get on the exchanges. So that's where we need to be. All right. Let's see here. I think I got a couple other questions, but I think that's about it. I think we could call it, unless you had something else for me. Is it cold over by you?
No. It's kind of raining sometimes, and I just want to hear like what is your situation before we round this up? What is your like situation with the whole COVID-19 thing? Because it generally seems like the US has been pretty hard. As far as I've read, they have over 1 million infections and over 50,000 people. What is your take in it, and what I mean? How is it affecting you, in particular in your state, Florida?
Yeah, so Florida is a social state. In other words, not socialist, but social. In other words, everybody does stuff. We have theme parks, beaches. We have conventions, and so people come here to have fun. We're your fun neighbors. Everybody comes to visit. And we got the pool in the backyard, and we have the big barbecue, and so everybody comes over to have fun. And obviously, when you can't have big groups of people, there's no fun. So, so economy-wise, it's done a real big number on Florida. We have the largest amount of people, if I'm not mistaken, on unemployment at the moment. It's been devastating to the economy here. Now, as far as health-wise, there are a few areas that have been hot spots, but nowhere near what they thought it would be. And so we've been pretty lucky so far. Maybe the temperature here and since we're so far south, maybe the temperature and the humidity, I don't know, and the bright sun, maybe the sun kills the virus. I guess supposedly the UV light and sunshine will kill it. So we get a lot of sunshine here, so maybe that's part of it. But everybody wears their mask. And does their thing, but it's been pretty devastating I think the shutdown of the economy has created more devastation than the actual virus itself at this point. If you think about it, there's 350 million Americans, 325, 350 last time I looked. If you have 1 million, that's 0.3% that have, quote, have the virus, and out of that 0.3, only I think there's been, unfortunately, 50,000 people that have been attributed to the death. So the numbers are really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big. It's just that it had the potential to expand dramatically, and obviously those that get it have a greater chance of running into difficulties. So and those it had a higher chance of death. But I noticed the one thing that they were saying, that people that were smoking, they had a lower chance of actually like, for example, if in China, they have 27% of the people smoking, you would think there would be 27% of the people sick, but it wasn't. It was only 4% of the people. In the United States, we have 17% that smoke, only 1.1% have the virus. So there's something weird going on there, and they were talking about the blood clots that were happening and stuff like that because of the reaction of your body, your immune system, and somehow maybe that might be the difference of why people had bad results. Even they could have it, but they wouldn't pass away from it. So it's weird. It's gonna take years for us to really understand this particular virus, and hopefully it'll stay under control. But
Sorry, what?
Well, we're going to be dealing with this again next year, and probably the year after. It could be a common thing from all we know going forward.
Has you personally been affected by this, maybe economically, or has it hit you really hard? Because it seems like a lot of people has lost their jobs. I think I read over 20 million has filed for unemployment benefits or something. So have you like personally been affected by it, or
Yeah,
what is
no,
your situation?
it completely devastated my company. You know, I make props and displays for events, trade shows, retail
Okay.
stores, conventions. So my business went to nothing overnight. And so I had to lay off everybody because I had nothing for them to do. And so it's been an extreme financial hardship. And then, of course, you know, wherever I go, I put on my mask because I have a lot of people counting on me when things are right and running. And you know, if I was to not make it, it would affect a lot of people in the long run. So, you know, I try to do my best to make sure that, you know, I wear a mask and all that other good stuff. So, but yeah, it's going to be a long ride to get things back to the way they were, and I don't think that they ever will get exactly back to where they were. It always changes. Major events like this always changes society in some ways. It's just like 9/11 changed how we get on airplanes, and we get frisked and checked out, and luggage gets scanned, sniffed, rubbed down, rolled around, and inspected. And you know, Patriot Act and the way they can monitor calls, and it's still with us. It's still with us, right? 20 years later. So I have a feeling whatever changes happen, some of it will float back, but there'll be some things that will stay and will change society. So that's just my thought on that.
Definitely. Good to hear. Always. But I generally just wishes the best like situation for all, because it seems like it's very different. It's very different cases for each country. So yeah.
Yep.
And my father is actually going to be tested for coronavirus because he had some symptoms yesterday, but now he doesn't have any more. So that is also going to be quite interesting to see if he's going to be positive.
Yeah,
So,
I hope he's all right. And you know, you could be positive and not have any problems. It comes down to genetics, I guess. But my prayers go to your dad, and obviously wash your hands, keep everything wiped down.
yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Well, is the case in like in the US? Every people have just like hoarded hand sanitizers or something, because you can really not get them at all here in Denmark. It's very hard to get them. Or is it like just totally impossible?
It's shocking. To find a roll of toilet paper is a miracle. They'll show up. You'll see a couple of rolls here and there. I have not seen hand sanitizer in a month. Getting any type of you know, the wipes, the Clorox wipes and stuff like that. I have not seen those at all. And here's the problem, you know, my company, we use rubber gloves and we use respirators because we're sanding and stuff like that. And trying to get them is almost impossible. You have to, I had to ship some in from China to have something to be able to give my staff. Even just to get rubber gloves is like pulling teeth, and without them I can't work. I can't run my company. So it's been a challenge for me, and I'm sure it is. You have Norway, Sweden, and Finland, right?
Yes, and then Denmark is just like down there.
And what country are you in?
Denmark.
Denmark. All right, you're down at the lower part there.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Denmark. All right, very good, very good. So you're not too cold where you are because you're down lower and everything. So they were talking about, you know, in the news they always talk about how you guys are handling it there. I guess you guys didn't do much of a lockdown originally, right?
Oh, well, I think 1 month ago, our prime minister decided to shut down the whole public sector. They decided to shut down schools, private schools, and then they decided to prohibit gatherings more than 100 people, and then they have changed it to 10 people. And they were even thinking about shutting it down to only like 2 people. But now we have started to reopen our schools again, and we are reopening shops again. They also closed down all malls that was prohibited. They are thinking of ways of opening that up. Barber shops are now open, driving schools are now open. So we are starting slowly to reopen as well again, but it's a very slow process. And that's the case here. Obviously, we haven't been hit so hard as you guys, but I definitely hope the best as well.
Yeah, same here. Well, I'm going to close this off, and I want to thank you, Oscar, for inviting me.
Absolutely, it has been a pleasure.
Inviting me to be on your Zoom channel today. It's always fun talking with you, and my prayers go to your dad, and of course to you, and stay safe, and so that we can talk again. All right.
Sure.
All right. I'll see you next time.
Thank you. Oh, did
right.
you end the live stream now? Is that the
What's
case?
that?
Did you end the stream?
I'm gonna hit the fire exit now. Hang on one second.
Oh, sure.
Let me close that off. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you stopping by and watching the show. Let's turn that off. We'll turn this off, and we'll do that.